The ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, is facing growing internal disquiet following the replacement of some candidates at its primary elections, with the developments triggering protests, legal threats and accusations of injustice from aggrieved aspirants and their supporters. The controversy has fueled concerns over internal democracy and raised questions about the party's ability to maintain cohesion ahead of the next phase of the electoral process. As pressure mounts on the party leadership to justify the decisions and manage the fallout, APC National Publicity Secretary Felix Morka joins us from our Abuja Broadcast Center to explain the rationale behind the candidate substitutions, respond to allegations of unfairness, address concerns over party unity, and outline the APC strategy for resolving internal disputes while remaining focused on future elections. Good morning and welcome to the morning show.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Morka.
Okay, Felix Morka, thank you for joining us. Section 84 of the Electoral Act is very clear that only persons who took part in the primaries at the party level can have their names submitted as candidates. But now we have a situation where INEC has had to warn political parties not to import people into the process, because that would be a violation of the Electoral Act. And the main party that has been so accused is your party, the APC, particularly with regard to the candidates whose names were submitted for Senate positions. What is the truth of the matter? Did your party willfully disregard the law and had to be cautioned by the electoral body? And why?
Thank you so much, Doctor. No, that's not the case. That's not what happened. Now, primary election is a process, Doctor. It's not an event. What takes place in the field on the day of primary is one, just a part of the process that started with the sale of forms, if you will, and all of the processes that followed. Sale of forms, vetting, screening, and then, primaries. And then after primaries, you have the appeal process. Appeal committees are established at the same time that the primary election committee is established, populated by individuals carefully chosen by the party for a purpose. Because we understand, and I think it's understood globally, that when you have any kind of election, that people may be dissatisfied with the outcome and therefore have a right to a recourse procedure where they can challenge what may have happened that is not satisfactory to them. Now, that appeal process is an integral part of the primary election process. It's not a separate process. And it's not a process invented by the party to cause mischief. No, it's a process that is embedded in the constitution of the party and in our guidelines to enable those who compete to seek remedy where they feel like their rights or that some irregularities occurred that may have prevented them from actually succeeding in that election. So my point here is that, yes, we have primaries. Maybe names were declared in some districts. People were announced as winners. That's beautiful. That's valid. However, when those who didn't win bring forward a petition or petitions to the appeal committee, that process is also valid. And what has happened in our case is that we received over 720 petitions from those who contested in that election. And these petitions were reviewed by the appeal committees. Recommendations were made to the National Working Committee. But the National Working Committee of our party, in its wisdom, and following pressure from all of those who were involved in these petitions, also took responsibility as the ultimate duty bearer to review the report of the appeal committees and to reevaluate those cases.
Just a moment.
And at the end of them,
Just a moment.
we made those changes that you are discussing. So these are legitimate outcomes of our primaries.
No,
Not
that much.
any sort of mischief made by the party.
No, that much is clear. But you need to help us clarify this.
Okay.
Namely, is it the case that persons who were not part of the primaries, persons who were completely out of the process, who had no bona fide to go to the appeals committee, were just invented out of the blues, outside the process, and then given ticket as candidates? That is the issue. It's not about the process. It's not about the appeals committee. Were there outsiders that were brought in? Hello?
I'm not aware of any such case that you are alluding to, that you're referring to, about those who didn't participate, who never bought forms, who were not screened, who didn't participate in primaries, all of a sudden handed tickets. Look, I'm not aware. If you have any such example, please mention it, and I will go back and do my own investigation and make inquiries, and I can come back to you. But I'm not aware of any such event that occurred in our party.
From your end, okay. I just needed that clarification.
Okay. All right, Mr. Morka, my question would be around grassroots APC supporters. People like Cletus Obun, who was with us last week. People like him who have structures that have been loyal and have been working for the APC, according to them, since perhaps even the inception of the party, and now feeling very aggrieved because they feel like they were cheated out of the process. In fact, he said the process wasn't fair, and in some instances, like the one in Ekiti State with Senator Ayo Arishe, he said that he felt he won. He's now dragged the APC to court to examine the process, saying that because of the timelines stipulated by INEC, they can't even wait for internal party dispute resolution. What the fear is that these grassroots members would then be encouraged, as it were, to work for the opposition because they feel aggrieved, they feel like the APC has done them an injustice. What would you have to say about this? For people like Cletus Obun, for people like Arise, for people like people, in the Ondo State legislative primaries, what would you have to say to people like that?
See, look, this is the nature of electoral, contestation. That when multiple people compete in an election, everyone goes into it, hoping to win. They work hard. They have supporters. They spend money. So there's a very high expectation and hope that they will win, that they will prevail. Look, when they don't, naturally, when you have 5 people vying for a seat, just one seat, you have 5 contestants, for example. All 5 can't win. And when, they don't win, some people definitely have a reason to be dissatisfied. And this is why we took our time to go through these appeal processes to make sure that there was no case we didn't give, the time of day to thoroughly review. And we did. So, at the end of the day, one individual must fly the flag of the party in that district. And when it's not Peter and it's Paul, Peter will complain. And look, listen, what we say to them is that, everyone cannot be, flag bearer for that seat. So, our appeal and our processes, our conflict, management processes, our engagements are on already to reach, individuals like this, to reassure them that this is not personal and that, ultimately the party must do what the party must do following its guidelines. Nothing has been done that is arbitrary. Nobody is just being favored with tickets. Look, there are cases of very high-powered individuals in some states, former governors, for example, who, had been announced as winners, but, now don't have the ticket because, certain things just didn't add up in some of those, primaries. Look, the point I'm making is that, this is to be expected, especially when you're managing primaries at the scale that we had to manage primaries. No other party did that. In some of our cases, we have 10 people competing for 1 seat. So, overall, if you look at the numbers of the substitutions we've made, it's really insignificant. We're talking about 3-4% of the total number for House of Reps, for instance, that were, changed based on these appeal processes. In that scheme, over 96% success, I say we did very well.
Okay. Mr. Morka, good to see you again. In fact, I thought you two, you had ambitions, but now it's obvious that you didn't have ambitions. We're targeting you for House of Rep that time. Mr. Morka, the matter is deeper than the 3%. And from feelers on the ground, what they said is that this was used to settle scores that were on in some states. Number one example, in fact, I'll refer you to a This Day publication of about 2 days ago that says our BTO took Ondo APC from under a sitting governor. And they said Olubunmi Tunji Ojo, Minister of Interior, native of Ondo North, pretty much his own people were those that were substituted from those that won actually, which were loyal to the governor's people. So there's a political cataclysmic reaction going on. And you know what's happening in Ondo. The governor is sort of like law-tied. He can't run in the next election. BTO is vying. There's a power struggle in the state, and they say Abuja aided. In fact, I got to talk to somebody from Ondo that even alleged corruption, but I said, give me empirical facts for corruption. He couldn't show me that money exchanged hands. Secondly, this also happened in Benue, where you know the governor earlier has been back and forth with Akume. And most of the governor's people too that emerged also were pushed aside. In fact, this article from This Day newspaper said something very interesting. It said, remember that in 2018, Adams Oshomole's NWC overrode Akeredolu the same way. Akeredolu retaliated covertly and the APC lost Senate seats to the PDP in the same Ondo states. So this is deeper than what we say on the surface. I don't know your reactions to all of this.
My dear brother, Rufai, first, I didn't have any ambition to do that. People were just speculating, the House of Reps you mentioned. But anyway, that's on the side. Look, Rufai, the beautiful thing about our party is that we have a lot of titans in our party across, so many states who command a lot of influence, who command a lot of respect, a lot of followership, and who are determined to, back the fortunes of the party in their states. So the competition for our tickets are very, very, heightened and fierce at the internal level, because that same energy you're going to see during the general election. So, yes, that may come across to some as, indicating a problem, but to us, it just shows that our party is vibrant and, that our members, our leaders are very committed to the party. If they were not, they would not, give out so much energy to back their positions and their aspirants that they support. However, again, as I said, even when those titans are involved in, really, struggling for these tickets, ultimately the ticket will be, somebody will get it from any one of those, sides. So any side that gets it, our party's position is that we will urge the other side to, support those who, fly the flag and to, take us into the election to compete. So we're not really concerned about all of this. Those are internal matters which we are very equipped to deal with and we're going to deal with.
You're not getting the arguments. Nobody is saying it's wrong for people to get it. It is the way they got it. It is the injustice we are talking about this morning. The fact that the people collectively voted in a primary election, ratified in situ at those venues, and then you go to Abuja, and then you throw away the will of the people in the name of an appeal. That is what is abhorrent and judicially scary in this matter. I'm not concerned about people winning fair and square. It is the fact that, and it is a repeated pattern, in states where there were skirmishes between the governors and other political factors. Benue, for instance, Alia and Akume, which is the SGF, Babatunde, BTO, and the incumbent governor. And that's the scary trend here. It's not the fact that people can win. Why didn't these people win fair and square at the local primaries in their state? Why do they need Abuja to win? That's the problem people are complaining about.
No, see, right, but look, keep this in mind when you say these things. Now, what exactly will be the party's incentive to just intentionally and deliberately miscarry the election against a sitting governor? I mean, what exactly is the incentive there? You should ask that question.
No, but you tell me.
Look, this is not as
you tell me because your party has done it.
No,
because your party has done it.
Let me tell you. Allow me to tell you.
Yes.
Permit me to tell you. You see, look, listen, when primaries are conducted, the fact that primaries are conducted and you set up these mechanisms like the appeal process, and that even the courts are vested with jurisdiction to review what happened during primaries, already tells you, Rufai, that primaries are not infallible, that primaries are not foolproof, primaries are not immune to irregularities, even when the most eminent people are involved. It tells you that. So let's take that as a given so we don't dissipate energy on just contending for nothing. That tells you that the system, the law, everything already, even the democratic norms, expect that sometimes things don't go right, even when some of the most powerful people in the world are involved. So there must be a mechanism to review that when others complain. And when they complain, that review is an objective process that when it produces an outcome, must also be respected and taken as a part of that democratic process. So we can't always isolate it because it didn't happen on the ground. Therefore, whatever happens after is wrong, is purchased, is procured. That is not the way to think about it, my dear brother.
In legalistic terms, I put it to you, like people are saying this morning, that the review was not objective. That's what I'm hearing on ground in Edo. In Ondo,
that's a subjective opinion you are expressing.
Yes.
That's why I say that's not an objective opinion.
That's why I say I put it to you.
That's your personal view.
It's
not objective. No, you can't back it up with any facts.
And that's what I say.
Or evidence. You can't. You don't have any.
That's what I say. People on ground are saying these are their views. I'm amplifying their views. That's what I do in the media to amplify the views of everybody, all sides of views. So I put it to you.
That's fine.
I'm putting their views to you. They are saying in the case of Elegbeleye, Fashion Roti and Co. and all of that, that your review was not objective, that your review in local parlance, in Warri parlance, in Delta parlance, and say that review get K-leg.
Okay, Felix Morka, very quickly.
You're not from Delta, right?
Yes. That's why I use the word.
I'm from Delta,
Felix Morka. Felix, if you listen to me. Now, okay, we have very limited time to
Yes, I can hear you.
One question that people are asking is, what is the APC afraid of? The APC is the ruling party. It already has about 31 governors on its side. Some people even go for that even the judiciary at all levels is in the pocket of the APC. I don't think we should be having issues about internal democracy and desperation or anxiety with regard to the APC, since it appears that you seem to have covered the field, more or less, ahead of the elections. Why is the party still so agitated within and outside? Briefly.
Doctor, first, we're both lawyers. I don't quite appreciate you speaking about the judiciary as being in the pocket of the APC.
I'm reporting to you. I'm reporting to you. I'm reporting what people are saying to you. I didn't say it's my personal opinion.
Okay, whoever is saying that, they're being very condescending. Second of all, Doctor, why would we be afraid? All the elections conducted in this country since the 2023 general elections, Doctor, we have won them, including the most recent elections in the Ekiti and all of the senatorial and assembly by-elections. We won massively, bigly, to use the words of Donald Trump. You see, listen, this idea of APC is afraid, somebody is just hallucinating. I think it's, they need to just be calm and, do their own job and meet us at the election rather than all of this, very senseless talk about people being afraid of. Who are we afraid of? Afraid of who? We are working hard to win the next election, like we've won all the by-elections. So the idea that we are afraid, that is utterly ridiculous, my dear brother.
Okay, thank you very much, Felix Morka, spokesperson of the All Progressives Congress.